All right. Hey, everybody. December 5th, here we are at the end of the year. So I'm so excited to see you guys here. So, Jim, you were, before recording, you were jumping in to get talking. So I want to hear more. It's been a while since we've been able to catch up here. So tell me what's been going on for you for Ukraine and what all you guys have been up to.
Well, it's a long story, but within 10 days after the beginning of the war, we were in Romania with our first team and crossed the Danube River to retrieve some refugees and worked in several cities in Romania trying to alleviate the need for women and children.
Mhm.
And I hired two or three new people and put them out there in the field. We had a number of teams that went in 2022 in the spring, and then from let's say the 1st of May 22 until now, we've had permanent employees out there
Wow.
working. Our main activity in recent months has been in Odessa, and then taking material supplies down to the frontline cities. Humanitarian aid in Mariupol and Kherson and all of those places to the east of Odessa. So, but we go back and forth. Sometimes we send a team to Iași in Romania and then across into Moldova and to Odessa. But we've also had, for example, last summer I was in Lviv, and then there's a warehouse for Christian Medical Association out of London, and we work with them. You may know the people there, and then in Kiev with the Ministry of Health.
Okay.
And so we did a lot of work there. So altogether in Dnipro and all those cities, we probably had teams that were in as many as a dozen cities.
Wow.
But the logistics part is mainly handled by our guy, Luke Maddox in Odessa. And we've just had a Danish organization contribute 6 tons of canned meat. And we've distributed 2 tons of it to those frontline cities so far. And Luke is I'm on the phone with him every week when he's out there. So that's a summary of what we've done. The biggest thing we have done is ship 1 full container of medical medicine, drugs, medical supplies, and a lot of it was prenatal vitamins, which save a child a lifetime in a wheelchair. So that was done with the Christian Medical Association in Lviv.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. The rest, so are you still actively shipping over there, or is your team outside of the canned meat that was donated? Is your team sourcing locally, or how are you guys getting supplies in?
That canned meat came from Denmark, and so we're not shipping from the U.S. right now.
Okay.
We did some airlift. That was expensive, but we had some, and we did it. But I think your group has done such marvelous work, and I'm sorry we haven't been, closer tied into what you're doing.
Oh, well,
Thank you
doing a pretty great job. So, I did, if you are interested in shipping supplies from the US, Matter, Vicky is not on the call right now, but Matter is still donating mixed medical supplies and can give you a whole container. So it would just be the cost of getting it over. Vector is providing our services at cost as well. So it would just be any additional shipping. So if you're interested in that, we can talk offline about it, but I wanted you to know that was an option. And what is your team hearing? How are they doing? What's going on with them lately on the ground? What's happening?
I think they're very forward leaning. I'm a little bit concerned about our guy there because he gets too close to the action. And also in Donetsk, last a few months ago, our guy, Robert, went in there a little too close. He could see all the explosions and the missiles from both sides. And So I told him to back off. But no, our main thing is now just continuing working with the warehouse in Lviv and also with the distribution network from Odessa. So that's our main thing. However, the funding has declined, and people have lost interest, even the U.S. Congress, in Ukraine, and that's a very big concern. So I'm bringing Luke home in December for January meetings, and maybe I'll have some more information for you at the beginning of the year.
Thank you.
But I think we would like to work with your donor,
Okay.
and I'd like to be able to pledge that we'll handle the shipping for a container next first quarter of 24. But I can't say that right now. We can stay in touch with you on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to connect with you. Matter has been an incredible partner, and multiple people in the group have been using them and working with them, and they've just been, really phenomenal. So happy to put you in touch with them, whether there's an immediate need or just one down the road, but they have been just splendid. Fantastic. Let me make myself a note. Okay. All right, awesome. Frederick, tell me how it's going with you. What's happening? You are always busy behind the scenes.
We are, as I said last time, setting up safe spaces in schools and mental health care for children that have been traumatized by the war. So it's a literally, a lot of the schools are going underground over there, or very close to bomb shelters because of the threat. And these kids have just seen, they've experienced horrific things that no kid should, and they've been displaced. And so what we do is set up a safe space, meaning it is a room specially equipped for kids, where no matter what they're feeling, experiencing, they're safe to express it, that sort of thing. There are activities that encourage the kids to express what they're going through. A lot of kids, kids, grade school wasn't always the most pleasant place to be, if you will, and war, basic in terms of confrontation and that sort of thing. And the war has exacerbated that. So a lot of the focus is working on non-confrontational play, non-confrontational way of expressing, their feelings and keeping them involved. So about half of the cost of it for the first year is setting up and equipping the room. It includes computers and projector, and a lot of therapy is expressive in terms of art and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of that. But then the other half is mental health support. And Ukraine doesn't have the number of social workers that we have here in the United States or in the West, period. And a lot of the psychiatrists are working in inpatient only for basically soldiers who have, got PTSD. So we help train the teachers to be the first line of defense, if you will. So trauma psychologists, and this is a defined program. Trauma psychologists work with teachers so they can help triage and provide the first line of defense, and they also get mental health care. And then there's a social worker dedicated to every school, and so we provide that for the kids, and then case management in a way that ensures that every kid gets what he or she needs in terms of care. It may be working in the school. It may then, if necessary, be elevated to more what we would think of over here of, one-on-one therapy, if you will, as opposed to group therapy or activities. So basically it's a 50-50 cost. And then what we're doing is getting donor groups together over here and adopting a school. So the whole idea is to get 10 to 20 people over here that adopt a school. We have a Ukrainian artist who is working with us to do a plaque for every single school, so that those 10, 20, 30 people actually are, their donation, and this becomes their school, if you will, and their responsibility. We work to try to connect the children of the kids over here with the kids over there. Your idea of pen pal campaign, because that way the kids can kind of get to know each other, and kids are kids everywhere. We have a component that's anti-trafficking because that's been a problem. And again, the more the kids are moving away from regressing, becoming loners, if you will, due to their grief, the more at risk they are of just disappearing. And so a lot of it is to bring them back and make them part of the community and express what they're, going through, and know here's what the kids, what the child is going through. Anyway, where I was going with that is then the succeed like 2024, 2025, that school still remains adopted by the group, but it's a consumables renewal, which isn't that much, and all of the cost then for the next year, which is a little bit more than half, goes to mental health.
Okay.
And we've partnered with the Ukrainian Psychological Association, and they are helping provide social workers and psychologists to do that. So that's kind of our next couple of 2 to 3 years. And that's what we're doing. So
that's awesome. This has evolved so quickly, but I am so impressed with it. And you've done such an amazing job. And I love the pivot. I think it's fantastic and so needed. And remind me, are you also working with the government or official school system?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is working with the school system. The First Lady of Ukraine, if you will.
Yes.
This is her mental health is her mandate. Ukraine, and beyond kids, Ukraine knows that they really need to stand up a cadre of mental health professionals, and they're working on that. This is approved by the government. It's UN World Health Organization approved. So it isn't, and we aren't the only group that's helping do this. So we're partnering with others, and this program's been ongoing for a little over 1.5 years. So we're bringing the United States, if you will, to it, and basically adopting 15 to 20 schools. That's our goal for the next year, and then keeping that rolling, going forward. I was going to mention whether, anyway, it'll come to me.
Do you have a document, or can you slap something on a Word document with the details for like companies adopting schools and things like that? And I will be happy to include that in the follow-up email.
I do, and I just did a thank you video for our donors that talks about it too. So okay. I something dropped off my desk, so I can get that to you as well. Okay. And that would be great. Yeah,
I would love to include
because that. I think it's small groups. The goal isn't kind of the one and done. The goal is really, this is your school, and with 20 people, it really isn't that incredibly expensive. When you think about how many kids are helped by it, it really is reasonable. So I'll get that to you.
Okay. So, thank you.
And thank you for asking. And it was your idea in terms of the pen pal part of it, or what you've done. It's like, this makes sense, to do that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Definitely a way to empower kids. And will you go ahead and also just drop your website link into chat for everyone as well? Jim, will you do the same? Put your
Yes.
website link in chat for everybody, just so we can continue to make connections, and if you feel comfortable including your email, then you can do that too.
Sure. Yep.
Dimitri, what's going on?
Hello, all of you.
Good to
Thank
see you.
Huh?
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. Sorry, I missed
That's okay.
a few meetings. Yeah. Well, we still thank you, and we still carry on with humanitarian aid delivery to Ukraine. There is recently problem, but not with trailer. Basically, we meet problem with cost of transportation, because
Okay.
humanitarian aid still goes. We are without any. It's not blocked, let's say.
Okay.
So we just had trailer from our warehouse in Prushkov to Kiev, and it takes about 24 hours to pass the border. That's basically standard. Well, also box trucks go without any delay. I mean, they have own line, and they are not blocked by, by Polish haulers. For sure, it became less humanitarian aid that used to be.
Yeah.
It's understandable, because people got tired all around the world about this conflict, but we're still on. That's it.
Yeah, you're still pressing forward. Thank you. What kind of, are you, just from your own perspective, or what you guys are moving or anything like that, are you, obviously winter is coming or has already set in, what kind of needs and things are you witnessing?
Well, we more focused on, recently we had a few shipments with second-hand medical equipment.
Okay.
I mean, I know that it's some winter dress required, but we have a lot of requests for second-hand medicals,
Okay.
and it even includes beds. I mean, just beds, because it's lack of there is lack of beds in hospitals. So we had a few shipments from even from Poland with things like old-fashioned style. I mean,
Yeah.
these beds are actually, let's say, 20 from Soviet Union time, let me say like this.
Okay.
but it's needed, because it's now in Ukraine it's a big problem just for civilians to get to hospital, because all facilities 100% focused on military guys, and so if there will be anything, it would be super.
Okay. All right, thanks. Enrique, glad you could be here.
Excuse me?
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here with all of you guys, and thank you for having me. I know that I haven't been participating as much as I wanted, but I've always been fully supportive, and just the fact that the calls might not continue as regularly doesn't mean that we're not here for you, and we continue to be fully supportive of the Ukraine and all the efforts that you guys are doing. We feel proud and humbled by your example, so thank you. I just wanted to log in to say thank you to all of you guys. You have inspired us for the last year and a half, even more actually.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, for those of you who joined after Enrique has been here, he's the managing director at Vector, so he is our head honcho, and he was actually the one who worked with Michelle to get the letter writing idea started as well. And so yeah, so he's always like, how much are we giving? What are we doing? Who's helping? What's it going on? So even you may not see his face in many of the meetings, but he's always asking. So yeah. Olga, are
Well,
you
and thank you,
able to join
Christy,
us?
for
Yeah,
thank you and Nuria for running with this as well. You guys have been amazing.
absolutely. Olga, are you able to join us this morning? Chat with us? All right, maybe not. Let's see. What else has been going on? Let me see if there was anything else on my agenda. Yeah, I know some of the people that were supposed to join us today also had updates, so I'm sad they can't be here. I don't know if you guys saw in the group, but I loved the fact that Mark was actually able to meet Yaro's brother, who Yarrow hasn't seen in several years, but they were able to actually meet in Ukraine, so that was pretty amazing. So hopefully we'll get some more of those stories coming soon, but so good to be with you guys, and thanks for all you're doing. Jim and Frederick, what are, as we look into 2024, you've talked about some of the things that are going on, some of the things that are coming up. What are your big needs right now? So that we can also share those with the community. Frederick, obviously there's some adopt a classroom type situations happening. Anything else you would like to make a request for, or you're looking for resources or introductions or anything like that? And then Jim, same question to you.
What I was going to say is that I know that you all have been doing the letter writing, and we can connect those letters with schools.
Yep.
And with kids. And the goal is to kind of get it both directions, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So if there are groups that are interested in that, just get the word out, if you will. We're not approaching this from a, give $9.95 sort of thing and a bunch of disparate people. We really want a dedicated group that, it takes ownership, if you will. And then I plan to go over at least once a quarter. And part of what I'm trying to do, and I have another member of our board who's been over twice already, is to bring the school and the kids to the donors in the United States with a video, either in real time or asynchronous, if you will, so that we can develop relationships there.
Yeah.
I think part of what's going on with people losing interest is it's not front news right now, especially since what's started in Gaza and Israel. And so getting the word out, and then probably sometime next fall for those schools, things like backpacks with school supplies and things like that, we will probably also send over to help source the kids with what they need for the school year. So that's kind of where we're going with that.
Perfect. Okay.
Now, let me respond, Christy,
Yeah.
by saying that we're in the position where we need to reinvent the wheel next year about our outreach. And so for that reason, I'm thrilled to be back in touch with you and with Frederick. Especially the interest in child psychology is a key one. And we're facing that in Gaza. A lot of my work over the years was in Gaza and under the bombs in 2009, 2014. And I was just adding up the number of deaths this morning that have come from all those assaults over the years. And it's extreme. So how would you ever get your arms around a program for child rehabilitation? Right. The one thing about the children, Frederick, as you know, is they're amazingly resilient. And if you can give them a safe space and give them something that they can play with in a non-threatening environment, they will be smiling or laughing or, doing different things. Doesn't mean they haven't been scarred forever, but this is such a huge problem. And thankfully, the Red Cross and the UN all have programs in that area right now, which they have resources and capacities. What we found in taking teams and we've had psychological counseling training, trauma counseling training in northern Iraq, in Beirut, in Bethlehem, West Bank, in Uganda, Nigeria, Haiti. I don't know, maybe another place or two. So we've done that, but it's very expensive to bring the professionals from here who can help for a short term to train the trainers. But at least you have to do something. You can't just sit and let this situation unfold, which is only feeds more terrorism and more conflict. So it's essential what you're doing, and we have a nurse practitioner, or a surgical nurse actually, who's a retired colonel in the U.S. Army at the Veterans Hospital in Cincinnati, and she was with me last year in our medical trip to Kyiv, where we surveyed the surgical hospitals and others, and she's very interested in the refugees in Moldova and in Romania, and she's worked with us in Ukraine. So she has skills in psychological. She has a PhD in counseling, and so she may be interested in connecting with you. That's one thing. As far as our needs are concerned, they're mostly financial resources, and so when Luke comes back from Odessa, where he's done such a marvelous job and has attracted both local Ukrainian and European international support, we have to recalculate what he can do. And I'd like to introduce him to this group in January when you have your next meeting, I assume. So I want us to be in closer contact. Maybe we can, by a joint action, do more than we could individually. And the reason that I didn't stay involved with your group was that we were scrambling to do things all over the world, and Ukraine was not on our radar, and Eastern Europe was not in our focus area. We were 4 areas of the world, the Middle East being the primary one. And so we had to reconfigure for Ukraine, and that's been a great program, but where do we go from here? So I think your involvement and leadership, Christy and Frederick and others here, is very encouraging.
Thank you.
Well, James, I would like to meet remotely the person that you're talking about. That would be great for us to do that. And if we can do that, that would be great.
Yes, and what you or Chrissy suggested is that we get together locally for in-depth exploration, and then that would be appropriate. So let's do that first, but you certainly can get in touch with him by getting in touch with me. That would be great. I have your email now, and so we can stay in touch that way.
Awesome.
That would be great. And I was going to say too, I've had 2 instances where it's like, well, what we're doing in Ukraine, the program that the Israelis are using, and the approach that the Israelis are using for the children that have been reunited, who were hostages, is very similar. You know, a lot of people think, well, it's an in-depth, deep, hold tight sort of approach to kids and therapy, and it really isn't. Kids need the autonomy to know that they have control of their lives, and that's often what's been taken away. So I was listening to a report of what Israel's doing there, and it's like, okay, well, that's similar. And then what just kind of blew my mind, there was a report on NPR a week or 2 ago about schools, and it was a particular school, but it also broadened it out. A particular school in Virginia that had a school shooting at the beginning of last year and one on graduation day. And they have implemented and are spending millions of dollars to include child safe spaces doing the exact same thing. So that kind of broke my heart, because we shouldn't, it's one thing to be at war with a country and have that thrust upon you. We should be doing better, but the therapy and the approach and what's being done in our own schools reflects the same approach that we're taking in Ukraine. And you're right, getting the folks involved. We're not sending folks from here. It's just not possible. I'm a member of the American Psychological Association. I have a PhD in psych, but not in counseling. And one of the things I've thought about is, can we somehow get psychologists to do some of the training remotely? But again, the goal in Ukraine is to expand the reach with teachers, because at this point, that's really the resource that if we can train them to be kind of the equivalent of first responders, they can help. They're there with the kids anyway. And then they're basically doing triage, and that triage then can lead the cases that need greater attention or deeper attention or more group therapy, one-on-one therapy to occur. So that's how we're approaching that.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Well, Luisa, thanks for being here. Nuria, they are both in the Vector team, but yeah, before we wrap up and, you know, wish everyone a happy holidays, is there anything anybody else wants to say? We're happy to take any final comments. All right.
Well, I will.
Hi.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Luisa.
A Merry Christmas. Have a Merry Christmas and a very happy holiday. For those of you that were on the call, a couple calls ago, I asked for your prayers.
I was going to
for
ask
my wife.
you. Yeah.
And all news, the surgery went great.
Good.
She is healing very, very well. All news, every piece of news since the diagnosis, all the testing, all of the results have been positive, full stop. So knock on wood, we will be done with that with the second surgery in about March. But thank you for your prayers, and they are very much appreciated. And I wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas and happy holidays and peace in this world.
Thank you. Thank you for that update. I wanted to ask, but I didn't know if it was okay to ask publicly. So I'm glad. I'm glad you gave the update. Luisa, go ahead.
Hi, sorry for interrupting. Well, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for being in this call. For me, it's delighting to listening to you and knowing that everyone is helping and doing something for help. Just want to say Merry Christmas as well, Happy Holidays and peace. As you mentioned, it's the most important. And well, a virtual hug for everyone.
Fantastic. Vlad, thanks for coming. Thanks for being here. We were actually about done, but I'm glad you joined us. Are you able to chat for a minute? Maybe not.
Who is it?
Vlad.
Oh, I don't see it. Well, let me say, Christy and
Yes,
Frederick
please.
especially, I'm really excited about having rejoined this group, and I think there's some positive things will come out of it, especially very impressive work that you're doing. Christy, I think I have your email, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to connect with you after the call anyway, because I'm going to connect you to Vicky at Matter about the medical supplies.
Okay.
So I'll send you an email.
You can write conscience@earthlink.net if you don't have my contact.
I do. I got it from the registration. I've got it pulled up
Okay.
here to
Yeah,
make
I
it
see.
so I didn't forget.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's. We need to stay in touch, and
Yes.
especially I'd like to get our Army colonel and surgical nurse and triple threat counseling PhD in to connect with Frederick especially.
Yeah. That's awesome. I don't know. I know the city of Atlanta is a long way from Gainesville, but our office is down in Atlanta, and Enrique is always looking for people to come and hang out with him at the office because he's an extrovert and not many of us go into the office. So should you ever want to stop by the office and have your meetup there, he'll be very happy about that.
Please do. Please do. I will be more than happy to welcome you at the
Okay.
office.
Well,
can
we
bring
work
the
out of
Anyone on this call.
we work out of Alpharetta, and we can
Oh,
arrange
good.
a meeting there. If,
That would be
if
awesome. That would be great.
If that's good for everybody.
That would
Awesome.
be fantastic.
Yeah,
Okay.
that will be really fun to see people in person. All right.
Wonderful. Well,
Hi.
I'm pleased to see all of you again and to meet some of you for the first time. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, I will send it out. Frederick, you owe me a document on the corporate Adopt a Classroom group, and we will all, Jim, I will connect you to Vicky, so we'll talk then. And yeah, if anybody else has anything in the meantime, we have the WhatsApp group, we have email, we have phones, we have all kinds of things. So we will send out the next meeting group and see you guys in 2024. But thank you so much for all you've done for Ukraine and just to make us all better. We appreciate it. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Thank you.
Everyone. Thank you for your kindness and caring. Thanks.